Hey darlings. Sveta, you know that your father. Stepa, you're an adult man. What are you afraid of? Stepa nodded his head. How can you not understand? I can't provide you with the level of life you're used to, and you'll get tired of me very soon. It seems to you that everything is great now. You know very well how healthy I am. At any moment I can leave you alone. I can't. I don't want you to suffer. You'll see, it'll be a while, and you'll forget me. And you? Stefan looked at Sveta with fear. What do you mean? You'll forget me soon? I'll never forget you. So now you want to say you have a character, a soul, and I'm so soulless? Sveta, what are you talking about? I just want my beloved man to live, not suffer. Sveta sat next to Stepan. Why did you decide that life without you wouldn't be my suffering? Sveta, what should we do? We're going to see our father tomorrow. We tell him everything and wait for the sentence. On the other hand, we can't wait. We can run away. They laughed. Tomorrow Stepan should be discharged from the hospital, in which Sveta was practicing. They met and very quickly realized that they simply cannot be friends without each other. In the 3 weeks that Stepan spent in the hospital, they all decided. The girl imagined how her father would receive a message that his only daughter was going to marry a man who didn't know if he would wake up the next day. Besides, he lives in a village, because the city's ecology is destructive for him. Sveta immediately decided that she would not leave Stepan, no matter what. In a week, she did not understand how she lived without him. He was her half, her heir, her soul. Well, Stepan fell in love with her right away as soon as she entered the ward. At home, Sveta studied all her textbooks, all the textbooks on the first day. Yes, the threshold is heavy. But with the right support, some people live too. That's a lot. Now, at this moment, when he will be in 2 years, that's a lot. They have time. Time for their love. As Stephen assumed, nothing good came out of their acquaintance with the Father of Light. Alexei Mihailovich, of course, did not kick him out. They even had a nice chat over lunch, but he just missed the words about the wedding. Although they started talking about this topic twice with Sveta. When Stepan left, his father stood up to Sveta. I can find out what it was now. Her father was an influential man, moderately, but cruel. Those who talked to him closely knew perfectly well that Alexei Mihailovich. Sveta was always afraid of her father. She loved him and was afraid. That's such a strange combination. Dad, listen to me. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, I will marry Stepan and go with him to the village. I don't understand now why you got higher education to spin the tail of a cow in the village. Dad, don't be so stubborn. No one is going to spin the tail of a cow. In the village where Stepa lives, there is no Felker for a long time. I'll take this position. You won't go anywhere. The conversation is over. But Sveta never listened to her father. Dad, I'm going. You can't stop me. I've been an adult for a long time, and I can make my own decisions. Alexei Mihailovich got up and sat down in his chair. Tell me, what are you trying to achieve? Do you need something? An apartment? A car? You tell me what you want, and I'm sure we'll find the right decision. Sveta sat next to me. Dad, I don't need anything. I love Stepan, you know? And he loves me. And if I have to make a choice between a full and beautiful life and a life in the village, but with Stepan, then I'll choose him. So it means. And for a long time, the opinion of the father means nothing to you. Dad, your opinion means a lot to me. But not this time. What arguments do you have against Stepan? A lot. He's not worthy of you. A village, a patient. What are you even thinking about? You're ruining yourself. Dad, when you get to know Stepan, you'll understand what a good person he is. I'm not going to get to know him better. If you go with him, you're no longer my daughter. Alexei Mihailovich got up and left the room. Sveta looked at the closed door with sorrow. The next day they left for the village. Sveta left a big letter to her father, hoping that he would change his anger to mercy and come to their wedding. But the miracle did not happen. The wedding was a bit crowded, but in a village it was fun. Stepan and Sveta settled in their parents' house. Father left them when he was still little, and the mother died recently. Stepan lived with his grandmother, whose house was nearby, now with their home. The old woman met Sveta as her most dear person. She even cried in the gates. "Granddaughter, you are so beautiful." "What's the matter, Anastasia Yegorovna?" "I'm ordinary." "Where are you ordinary? You are beautiful inside. You have a good soul." The chairman came to their wedding. Sveta was so surprised. She thought that the chairman no longer existed, but it turned out that he still existed. A young man brought a wonderful set of pots as a gift. He was immediately poured over, and he started talking. In recent times, weddings are not so frequent in our village. And so that someone from the city moved, it was not at all. "I don't remember this for a long time. I heard that you are a medic." Sveta nodded. "Yes, I got my diploma a year ago." "And what are the plans? What are you planning to do?" Stepan nodded. "But something, Uncle Vazia, is all around. Say as it is." "I have already prepared, Sveta." The man smiled. "That's good. You will take our medical center." "Well, of course I will. Just keep in mind that I will not give you a quiet life so that everything is there with us." Everyone who was at the table laughed. The chairman seemed to have a headache. 2 days later, Sveta and Zavkos went to see a medical center that had been closed for 2 years. Zavkos, a small-grown man, sown seeds next to her and spoke quickly. "You see, everyone left who was young. And there are not so many young people in the village. Mostly old people, all have grandchildren. They are not allowed to come to us. It's almost hours to the city, and the children are not sitting in their places. They either come to the nail shop or they swim, and we don't even have a film camera. I have a grandson myself. He's years old. He's a smart boy. He loves fishing with his grandfather, but his daughter-in-law doesn't allow him to stay. She says, 'What happened? What can I do for you?' Everyone in the village is glad that you came to us." While we were talking, we suddenly reached the medical center. Yes, there was a small house in front of them. The paint had been blunted on it for a long time. One window was broken. They put in the glass. "They should come up. Here's the key. Svetlana Alexievna, you say you need it. I'll write it down. Only within reason. You know, there's no special money in the village." Sveta understood herself that she doesn't have to count on much. No money, no workers. There's a window that some old man came to insert. Of course it happened. Everyone was going to get treated, and I was the only one to get the dirt out of here. I gathered the women there, and now we'll quickly get everything in order here. Oh, come on. I wouldn't have had to do it. Sveta was very uncomfortable, but Alya already took out the rags from her bucket, opened the window and shouted, "Grish!" Under the window, a man immediately materialized, apparently Olga's husband. "Well, don't come on. Take the bucket. Get some water." Grisha took the bucket, thoughtfully looked at Olga. "And to Mo. And then to Mo. Go already." Grisha hid, and Sveta could not hold back. "You were strict with him." Olga laughed. "Oh, stop it. He's lying to Vanya. You'll find out later. Grishka is world-class. It's okay that I'm on you." No, everything is fine. I wanted to offer it myself." In 2 hours, they have created a real flash in the medical center. Of course, it wouldn't stop them from gluing the walls, painting the floors, and the furniture that was left to wish for the best. But, as it turned out, it wasn't in vain that not mean, no, just such unity, and no. In the evening, after dinner, she whispered to Stepa, "You can't imagine, so many people came. I certainly didn't remember half of the names, but everyone smiled, everyone carried something. There is now such a pile of furniture, and tomorrow we will glue and paint." By the way, by evening the chairman himself came, said that some kind of medical equipment will be brought tomorrow, and then more. And then he said that the workers would come tomorrow. He highlighted the paint and the material. They will paint everything outside and fix the porch. Stepan listened and smiled. Look, you like it all. Yes, in the city I worked in the hospital. That is, a lot more people worked with me. And here I am alone. I understand what responsibility I will have. I want no one to ever reproach me for being a bad doctor. You are a wonderful doctor, the best. I know that. In a week, the hospital was unrecognized, and in one of the Mondays of the world, in a starched dress, she was waiting for her first patients. However, it would be more correct to say that these patients were waiting for her. Almost all the old ladies were crowded at the hospital long before he was supposed to open. Stepan was also going to work. He worked at the office of a secretary, but not at the chairman, but answered questions, solved some disputes. It was difficult for him to work, so he was very happy when Vasily Fomitch suggested such a job. You see, Stepan, I have to go to the fields and to the city. What if, for example, Semyonov doesn't need a certificate, and Ivanovna and Alexeyevich are confused again? I can't sit here in the office. And now it's not easy. And then that's it. We can close our... Oh, is it really some kind of epidemic? So many people. Oh, epidemic. It's called entertainment. They will run to you in all sorts of empty places. Well, what are you talking about? Health has never been empty. Stepan smiled. Go already, Mother Teresa. 2 weeks later, the chairman came to the medical center. Well, how are you? Did you survive? Yes, Vasily Fomitch, everything is fine. You got sick? Maybe you should measure the pressure? Stop it. I'm healthy as a bull. I came to thank you. Me? For what? Sveta was so surprised. She didn't see the chairman of the wedding. Why should she thank him? Well, people come to me, thank me for such an attentive and very knowledgeable doctor, and I wanted to thank you.
Sveta blushed.
She really tried. Different patients came to her, some just with pressure, and one old grandfather, and she didn't remember me. The nose was stuck in her finger for a week. It was so deep that she was about to tear it off. Her whole hand was hurting. He was so sorry that he tore it off. Sveta had to be admitted, even though she was not a surgeon. Now her grandfather was walking to her on a bandage. He thanked her and said that her hands were golden. 2 years later, Sveta found out that she was pregnant. At first, she didn't believe it, and then when she finally convinced herself, she threw herself to her husband. Stepa, we're having a baby.
I'm pregnant.
She was expecting a completely different reaction from Stepan. He was upset. Are you sure? Stepa, of course, I'm a doctor. Okay, I don't understand what's wrong with you. Are you not happy? No, I'm happy, of course. Although no, I'm not happy. You say you're a doctor, but don't you understand that a baby can have the same disease? The light has come on. And what do you suggest? To stop the pregnancy? Stepan got tired and rubbed his forehead. No, of course not. There must be some chance. Then, after a while, when Stepan calmed down a little, Sveta was already laughing at him. The first thing she did when she came from work, he put his ear to her belly and said, Hey, how are you there? Mom tortured you, running and running. Stepa, well, you'll shake Malovo. No need to sit in your medical center, and you'll be at home. Stepa, first of all, it's useful, especially on such a short notice. And second, who's going to run after me? The next day, Sveta went to the city for a pregnancy test. Her grandmother, Stepa, was there. He was at work. Something is bothering me, Sveta. Well, Anastasia Yegorovna, you're there too. If you think bad of everything, it will come. Let's think only good things, and give birth to healthy children. The old woman smiled. Yes, Sveta, we will do that. You're right. The bus left, and the old woman stood still, watched him closely, and wiped away the tears. She had a bad dream, but probably it was in vain. They will be fine. Sveta came back in the evening. The doctor told her that in 4 months a girl would be born into their family. The woman couldn't wait to tell her husband this news. She imagined how her life would be like now. She turned to the path and saw people near her house. Her heart ached and Sveta ran away. She pushed everyone away. She literally flew home. And she understood everything. Stepan was lying on the couch, so strict, smiling, with his eyes closed. Anastasia Yegorovna was sitting next to him on the floor and crying. Lightly, slowly, she sat down on the wall. Her stomach was pierced by a sharp pain. She didn't get to the funeral of her husband because the doctors simply refused to let her go. And she wouldn't have made it. She couldn't even sit on her own. She didn't have any family, no loved ones, no Stepan, no little girl, who didn't even have a name to come up with. Sveta was lying there. She didn't eat. She didn't talk to anyone. The doctor was. You need good nutrition, and you don't eat anything. You understand. You're a doctor. You need a lot of strength to recover. Sveta finally turned her head to him. Why? The doctor was confused. What for? Why do I need these strength? Why do I need this recovery? I don't want this, you know? I want to go where my husband's daughter is. And then she was broken. The hysteria was so strong that the nurses had to make her calm. For the first time since she saw Stepa on the couch, Sveta was crying, as if she had released some kind of spring in her chest. She began to slowly recover. In the evening, on the eve of the discharge, the door creaked quietly. She did not pay attention, thought the nurse, but it was not her. Sveta, my daughter. The woman suddenly turned around. Her father was standing in front of her bed. He had not changed much in the time she had not seen him. Only a few new wrinkles appeared. She threw herself at him. Dad, Daddy. Alexei Mihailovich even cried. What is it? What did not you tell me? I would have called the best doctors. How could we do this? They walked around the hospital park for a long time. So many things happened. Sveta, now you're not held there. Maybe you'll come back.
No, that, I'm sorry.
I'll visit you later, and you come. But I can't leave the village. There's Stepa. There's his grandmother. She's almost. Who will look after her? And all the old ladies, they're waiting for me. Who to measure the pressure, who just to anger the soul. Yes, daughter, I didn't wish for you to have such a fate. I thought you'd become a good doctor, make a career. Daddy, I'm a good doctor, and I'm in my place there. You understand. It'll be bad without me there. I understand. I won't persuade you. I see that it's completely useless. Just promise me that if you ever need help, you'll forget all our disagreements and come to me. I promise, Daddy. Sveta returned to the village. Anastasia Yegorovna came to her immediately. They went to the cemetery. Sveta knelt down in front of her husband's grave. Forgive me. Forgive me for not being able to forgive. Forgive me for not saving our girl. Stepa did not answer. And Sveta was still lying on the grave for a long time until the old woman had already pulled her by the hand. Enough, Sveta, enough. You will not change anything. We need to live on. And she started living. It was hard. So hard that every night she cried, clinging her teeth to the pillow. A year later, Anastasia Yegorovna disappeared. Sveta was left all alone, except for her father, who never came to the village. Sveta went to work, talked to her grandparents, and those in turn talked about her. The girl is completely black, not smiling, not saying a word. You're so black. You'll lose your husband and child. I feel sorry for her. She's young, beautiful, smart. I feel sorry for her, of course. We don't have any good men here. You look, and you'd still be the same. Oh, yes, we don't have any like that. 3 years have passed. Vasily Fomitch came to the medical center. But how are you here? You don't come. You don't ask for anything. It's all there. You don't need anything. He sat down in front of Svetlana, and she was like, Sveta, please, on her shoulders. How? I'm alive. What else do I have? Svetlana, 3 years have already passed. You think I don't feel sorry for Stepka? I loved him like my own child. Only life is like that. You have to live. That's what I thought. You've been working here for a long time, but you've never been on vacation. Oh, why do I need a vacation? What am I going to do at home? And you're not home. You're going to your father's. Stepka said you had a fight because of something. You're going to some other town. Look at the world. Show yourself. I'll give you a good prize. You've been supporting us for so long. I don't want to go anywhere. And then, who will my old people stay without me? And I thought about this question. Semyonovna's granddaughter returned to the village. Something didn't work out in the city. Of course, she's just a nurse, but she can measure the pressure and bandage her finger. Moreover, you've been relying on a second person for a long time, an assistant. But of course, if you don't mind, you will. Sveta smiled. I don't have a choice anyway. You've already decided for me. Sveta, you need to somehow develop, you know? We're all worried about you in the village. And believe me, the least we want is for you to leave us. We're used to you, so you can't even imagine what we're risking, letting you go on vacation. Sveta squeezed a smile out of herself. Thank you. When do I start my vacation? Well, tomorrow your assistant will come for a week. You train her here, show her everything you need, and in a week you can start. Okay, Vasily Fomich, I'll do everything as you say. She only managed to come home. As the door opened, Sveta smiled. Of course, who could it be, except Olga's friends? She never admitted to the fact that she knocked on the door. They became friends the very day when Olga came to her first to help clean up the hospital. Sveta, Sveta, Sveta. I didn't scream. Sveta left the room where she changed. Sveta, I brought the cake. Cake? What kind of holiday is it? Alya was looking at her, Then, affectionately, too affectionately, she said, Happy birthday. You have. I can't remember. It's March, I remember. Oh, exactly. Oh. She was so into herself. I understand everything, but look at yourself. When was the last time you bought something for yourself? You're going about the fact that you had bought a dress. You even forgot about your birthday. That's enough. Come on, set the table. Sveta looked at her friend with fear. Why do you need a big table? Why? We're going to celebrate. Grishka will come up soon. He marinated meat there. Katya will come up later. Sveta wanted less noise and celebration. But arguing with Olga was completely useless. Even the chairman didn't try to do it. He was called chairman for a whole year, and the head of some kind of farm. However, it didn't change the whole thing. When Vasily Fomich heard Oleg's voice in the reception, he wanted to hide under the table. Olga was a kind of village activist. Only thanks to her, the kindergarten was reopened. And even though only 5 children went there, she thought it was a victory. There is a kindergarten, so there will be children. Only thanks to her, they made a new pedestrian bridge for people not far from the village. Now you could get to the neighboring village without making a km detour. Olga did a lot of things. Rather, she only made Vasily Fomich do it. And the people, of course, were grateful. Oddly enough, they sat very well. Tatyana came, who should replace her. She turned out to be a pleasant woman, the child, who will be the 6th in the kindergarten. A week before the vacation, it was unnoticed. Sveta decided to go to her father for a few days, walk around the shops, and then do the repairs in the house. How many years does she live alone? And she never even tried to change anything. The house of Anastasia's grandmother also had to be insulated, cleaned up. Sveta just didn't know what to do with it, so she decided to let it stand. She will keep her order in it. Sveta collected her bag in the evening. She was somehow solemn in her heart. She called her father yesterday. How happy he was. He suggested sending a car for her right away, but Sveta said she would only go on Sunday morning. Dad, I will stay with you for a few days. That's good, Sveta. I certainly hope. Dad, I won't stay. If you're going to persuade me, I'm not going anywhere. Okay, calm down. I'm not going to persuade you. Just come. The night before the trip went by slowly. It was always so quiet in their village. And this night a few cars drove by. The village dogs went a little crazy. Sveta even got up to look out the window, but she saw only the lights in the distance. She couldn't sleep at all. Therefore, although the car was supposed to come only at 9, at 6 she was already on her feet. She drank tea, went through the house again to not forget anything, and after the cows were driven into the field, she decided to go out to breathe some air. What not to say, but she loved the village morning. The air is fresh, clean, smells of grass, fog, and something else. She went out into the yard. Then she opened the gate and stepped into the garden. Several already old apples. 3 birches at the fence. 3 young ones, quite. They planted them with Stepan. Sveta went to the birches. Yesterday she noticed that there in one place the fence was lying. We need to see. And when he comes, we need to ask Grisha to fix it. Or better ask him to do it until it's gone. The fence really fell apart. And in one place he was lying down as if someone had helped him. The neighboring boys were coming for the apples. How many times did Sveta tell them to go to the gate and take them? She didn't want to eat so much anyway. Sveta looked around, realized that she couldn't handle it here, and decided that she had to run to Alya and Grisha before they left. Maybe he would have time, and he would fix everything until she was gone. She had already walked a few meters away, like some sound, and made her stop. Sveta suddenly saw a baby crying nearby. She was even shocked. She was like this right after she came back from the hospital. She drank a sedative, and the baby's crying stopped. And now what? Again? But the crying, or rather even the squeaking, was repeated. The light turned and went back to the birch. She understood. There is a kitten there. How out of time. But she can't leave him alone. Looking at the biggest tree, she almost lost consciousness. She was looked at by the eyes. Blue eyes of a baby wrapped in a blanket. The light fell on her knees. Oh my God, little one. Now I. She carefully took the child in her hands and ran to the house. There were no thoughts in her head. She opened the drawer at home. It was a girl, about a month old, pretty, clean, but it looked hungry. The door slammed. Sveta, are you still home? Alya entered the room and just stalled. Sveta, who is this? What is this? Alya, all questions later. The tone of Sveta was so that Alya couldn't even think of listening. She jumped out the door and Sveta, looking at the clock, threw herself to cook porridge. By the time Alya returned to Sveta, the porridge had already cooled down. The girl was sweetly caressing, and Alya and Sveta silently looked at her. Finally, the baby fell asleep. Sveta covered her with her blanket and turned to Alya. I found her in the garden. Someone put the girl, threw her out. I don't even understand what. If I didn't go to the garden, no one would notice her. Alya, what a nightmare is happening. Sveta, wait. We're definitely not going to have any children here in the near future. Alya looked at her friend. Did you hear the car at night? Yes, you think? To be honest, I don't know what to think. And there was nothing with her. What do you mean? Well, maybe some notes? No. Sveta picked up the blanket and the blanket in which the girl was wrapped, and a small leaf fell out of it. Please help Sonia. I'm no longer here. They looked at each other and didn't even know what to say. Finally, Alya looked at the girl's face. Listen, she's so pretty. Small, well, very small. They are not very beautiful. And this is just a beauty. Sveta was silent. Then the friend, without turning, asked, Will you take me to the orphanage? Sveta felt how sharply her heart was pricked. What are you? What orphanage? Alya got up. Sveta, I know everything you're thinking about now, but you yourself understand that the child will be taken anyway. And you will have to run if someone is not found faster and richer. I understand. I don't know. The car rang under the window. Alya looked out, waved at the driver to wait. Sveta, I know exactly what to do. What? You need to ask your dad to help you. Dad? Yes, you said he could do anything. Sveta's tears rolled down. He will never agree in life. Try it. Sveta thought for just a minute, then decisively said, Go to the driver, let him drive to the gate. Then don't forget to close the door. Let him take the bags, and we'll get dressed. Yes, Sonia. Alya barely smiled. How long has it been since she saw such a friend? The last time Stepan was alive. She grabbed the bags and ran outside. That's right, there's nothing to know about the village. Everyone has their own language. Sveta leaned over the girl. She carefully sought her, though already in her dry bed. She didn't have any diapers, and in general in the village, they rarely used them. Then she put on her blanket. The girl didn't wake up, just smiled in her sleep. Svetlana didn't hold back, kissed her nose. Sonia laughed. Her nose was wrinkled and smiled again. Sveta went out and quickly snuggled into the car. Already from there, she gave the keys to Alya. When will you come back? I have only 3 weeks to figure something out, so I don't know. Sveta, good luck. Thank you. I really need her. The driver looked at Sveta with surprise all the way, but didn't ask questions. He came to work for this family a long time ago. Sveta had just graduated from school, so no matter how everything went, he knew the whole story of Sveta and her husband. Now he is in a daze. When Sveta got there, and did the owner know? When Dad saw Sveta with the child, he got confused. Sveta, you didn't tell me. Dad, this is not my child. Or rather, my dad. I'll explain everything to you. But first, you can send someone to the store. Of course, write what you need. Vadik will go and buy everything. Sveta knew that Dad doesn't work in the administration now. He is busy with business. This house he bought just a couple of years ago, and she was not here yet. Dad, where do I go? Oh, sorry. Here, come in. This room has always been waiting for you. Only after everything was brought in and Sonia was bought, fed and laid, they sat in the kitchen. Sveta told everything as it was. Father was silent. She looked him in the eye. Dad, remember you said that if I need something, that I can turn to you. This is exactly the case. Sveta, I don't understand something. What do you want from me? He was in a daze and looked at his daughter. Of course, Dad was a little bit jealous. He already knew that Sveta wanted to, but hoped that he was mistaken. Dad, you have connections. There are many acquaintances and people who owe you something. Help me make documents for Sonia as if she is my daughter. I'll go crazy if you don't help me. Sveta didn't know what and how her dad was doing. He disappeared for days somewhere, and the woman plunged into her motherhood. At times she forgot that she wasn't Sonia's mother. She walked around the city, carrying a beautiful stroller in front of her, buying some children's costumes, and even bought herself a bunch of new clothes while the saleswomen were working on Sonia. Sveta was afraid of that word, but she was happy. A week later, she called Alya. She was supposed to be in the store at that time. Sveta, we have some news here. What happened? Can you imagine how you left? A young woman's body was found in the village. I think that's Sonia's mother. Alya lowered her voice. She almost whispered, and Sveta suddenly felt ashamed. She was sorry for the young woman, but now she knew for sure that no one would come for Sonia. Sveta also whispered, What happened to her? Oh, Sveta, nobody knows anything, but Vasily Fomich said it was a murder. Can you imagine? So young. I can't even imagine. It wasn't for nothing that they drove cars that night. One thing is for sure. The girl is not local. It's been a week, and nobody knows who she is. I don't even know what to think about. Sveta, tell me, did Dad help you? Sveta heard Sonia cry in the room. Alya, I'll call you back. Sonia is crying. She put the phone down, but Sonia was silent. It was strange. It seemed like something was wrong. Sveta went into the room and froze in the doors. There was Dad. He held Sonia in his arms and told her something quietly. About bricks, about the prices of construction materials, about the workers who don't want to work. The girl looked at him carefully and even smiled a little. Dad, I didn't hear you come. He turned around. And I came in. You talked on the phone. Sonia cried. I didn't distract you. You know, I think she will become a builder. You would have seen how she listened to me carefully.
Sveta smiled.
I saw, Dad. Alexei Mihailovich carefully passed the dream to Sveta. Here is the daughter. The father pulled himself to his portfolio and pulled some papers to her. What is it, Dad? This is a testimony of the birth of Sonechka. Mother, you are in it. Sveta silently walked to the bed, put the girl down, then hugged her father. Dad, you are the best for me. I am very ashamed that I did not come. Alexei Mihailovich stroked her on the back, on the hair. What are you? Young, hot. And I. You know how ashamed I am. Let's never argue again. Come on, Dad. Just come to visit us with Sonia. Alexei Mihailovich was silent. You're going there again. Yes, Dad, there is my place. And how is Sonia? I don't know. I'll think of something. Well, look. And I, of course, will come. Where am I now without you? The village was buzzing. Everyone was wondering where Svetlana got the baby from. Sveta didn't answer the questions, but she understood that sooner or later she would have to give at least some explanations. And not because she needs to, but because she needs to live here. She needs to treat people in a human way. Sveta didn't give up on her job. When Alya was on her day off, she took Sonia with pleasure for half a day. And Grisha and she ran to Sonia on a run-up, only to be caught by the one who was the fastest. But the fastest was Platon, their 5-year-old son. He called Sonia his sister and promised to always protect her. When Sonia turned 6, Alya came to the world. That's all, Sveta. I can't take it anymore. Do you think it's easy to work in a store, be your friend and hold back the question? You can't imagine what's going on when the girls are going to the market. Let's sit down and think of something reasonable. The light went out. So what are we going to think of? I don't know. You know better. For a while they were sitting there silently. Then Alya said, No, you can't figure it out without a bottle. She ran away somewhere and came back with a bottle of. In general, they went to bed. There were many options, but none of them fit. Then they decided that the main thing was that the people did not know that Sonia was a fake, and everything else would be forgotten. They came up with such a version. Sveta had a sister. She did not survive in the wild, and Sveta took the child. There was no father. The sister did not tell who the father was, and even the father, Sveta, does not know about this. He believes that the child is Svetlana. We should have told Semyonovna about it, and she would have spread the news faster. The main thing is to make scary eyes, so that everyone could feel how important it is to keep this secret. Of course, there was a risk, but while Sonia grows up, there is time. Everything went well. People felt so much the situation that they stopped asking anything at all. They were only interested in how Sonia was growing up there, and gave them to the girl in the living room. And the little Sonia grew, not during the day, but during the hours. Sveta was surprised to see how Sonia took the first steps, how she tried to eat with a spoon, throwing the porridge everywhere where she could only throw it. And Sveta didn't understand one thing, how she could live without Sonia before. She was happy and so was the other. Now she goes to them at least once a month. Alexei Mihailovich came. The first time he came, he made a new house in the village. The house of Sveta was stopped by an expensive car, then another one. In the village, everyone was on the lookout. People began to go out into the yard. Everyone thought they could, but mostly that the arrival of these expensive cars was somehow connected with the child. A little fool and old man came out of the first car. No one had ever seen him here before. And only when Sveta jumped out of the house and threw herself at the man on the neck, everyone was moved. And it's true, everyone knew that Sveta's father was rich. After the hug, Dad left the house with his eyes. Well, as I thought, there was no repair for years. Everything was broken. There, the workers brought you. Let them repair everything here. Seeing that Sveta wants to object something, Alexei Mihailovich strictly said, "Don't even think of objecting. You don't want to take money from me, and you refuse to help me."
Sveta left.
Okay, Dad, let them repair it. Just don't get angry. Come inside. Sonia just woke up. Alexei Mihailovich was very surprised when he saw Sonia, whom he hadn't seen for a month and a half. Someone has grown a lot. I wouldn't recognize you. Go to your grandpa. Sveta went to the kitchen so that Dad wouldn't see her tears. It was so important to her that he took the granddaughter. And he took her. Alexei Mihailovich came for a week. Sveta understood what it was worth to steal so much time and was very grateful. The berries just went into the forest, and the number of patients increased dramatically. Someone would turn their leg while climbing the log where it was larger. Someone would fall into the eye with a branch. There were many snakes that were bitten. In general, Tatyana was sewing, and Alexei Mihailovich let Sveta go to work. Don't worry, we'll walk, we'll eat, you'll work for an hour or 2 or 3 hours, and then your partner will manage. On the first day, Sveta was so worried that she even ran home twice. The workers were doing something. Some put new fences, the others at home. Father fed Sonia for the first time, and in the second they just went out for a walk. Then he said to Sveta, "You wanted to work? Why are you running?" Sveta looked into the stroller. Sonia was dressed exactly as she would dress Sveta. Besides, the girl was already quite exhausted only with one eye, so she would fall asleep. Sveta smacked her dad and ran away. She didn't check anymore. And Alexei Mihailovich with a proud look. He was pushing his bike in front of him, walking around the village. He was happy to greet the old men, talking to them about the weather, and he kept going. The next day, the information about what a nice man her father was, what a well-bred man, and how he loved his granddaughter, was leaked to the world. In a week, the workers that her father brought completely transformed the house and the yard. It was getting more and more fun. A new high fence, the house is painted, the roof is new. Everything is fresh inside. Dad, although Sveta resisted, bought new furniture in their bedroom with Sonia. And he said that the next time he came, everything in the kitchen would change. When he left, Sveta even cried. "Dad, don't forget us. Come more often." "What about that? Of course I will come. I'm dressed in a bow, like Semyonik or Sergich. He promised to take me to a place where the fish would be biting without bait. I was not even years old when I was fishing. Maybe I was even older. Dad didn't lie. He tried to come here often. But it was work and business." Sveta saw that he was giving up right in front of her eyes. And one night he got a call. "Svetlana Alexievna?" "Yes, who is this?" "This is from the hospital. Your father was taken to us by heart attack. He asked to inform you. She had a cold in her chest." "The hospital? What hospital?" The doctor explained everything to Sveta. With a cold heart she asked, "Doctor, how is he?" "He is now in safety. But you must come. At the pace he lives, he will not last long." Sveta entered the ward and immediately saw his father. He fell asleep. He got old. "How old is he?" And it turned out that he was. Almost. I was driving myself with my business. Like a boy, everything was on the move, everything was running. "Dad." He opened his eyes right away, smiled. "I came, and you see, gave something a little." Sveta sat next to him. "Dad, why do you need all this?" "I don't know, Sveta. As I started running, I was afraid to step back from everyone. I couldn't stop. You know, I thought here, maybe I should sell everything to the devil. I'll go to your village. I'll be nesting at night, sitting on the river for a day. I don't deserve at least a little rest." Sveta wanted to say something, but her father didn't. Wait, don't interrupt. Do you understand when I visited you for the first time a week ago? I understood something. The real thing is there. Not where money and power are, but there, at your place. Do you know why? They say they think they need money to live, but we live here for money. We work hard for them. And in the end, who is happy? The one who is free. I've saved these papers. So what? How can they help me now? They can't. You see, we all leave the same way. What about Semyonovich or Sergeyevich? I can't remember. What about me? Sveta was silent. It was very unusual to hear all this from my father. You know, Sveta, I wanted to do it back then, but I couldn't. I wanted to ask for forgiveness for treating Stepan like that back then. And in general, you shouldn't do it like that. It was your choice, and it turned out to be much more correct than my decision. When I come to you, walk with Sonia, everyone tells me how wonderful you are, and responsive and smart. You think my partners say something like that about me? No, they just smile in their eyes, and behind their backs they see as if I have a piece fatter than a piece of meat. Sveta put her hand on her father's hand. Dad, but you can change everything. You know how Sonia will be glad to see you. I know, of course. She is a child, so sincere, so kind. Sveta spent 3 days in the city. She sat with her father for a long time every day. They talked. And one day she found her father. He had some people. Dad was on the bed, and people were around. Is everything okay, Dad?
Sveta, hello.
Yes, of course. We are making a deal. And you, my dear, start packing your things at home. I'll go to the village. On vacation. Dad, are you serious? Sveta was very happy. If he would give his business for free, he would just leave everything and leave with her. Why would he have to be alone here? Papa finally recovered only 2 weeks later. While the things were being packed, while they were looking for a person to look after the house in general, the move was only possible in a month. What happened to Sonia when she finally waited for her grandfather? She screamed, jumped, and every 5 minutes asked, Grandpa, are you going to live with me forever? Are you going to read fairy tales to me in the evening? There were many questions, but she did not wait for answers. Why? The main thing is to ask, and if no one shook their heads negatively, then everything will be fine. Life flowed in its own turn. Sveta went to work. Sonia went to kindergarten. Alexei Mihailovich took on the responsibility to take away his granddaughter. And he suddenly fell in love with cooking. On the one hand, Sveta was happy with such a turn of events, and on the other, she just felt how she was starting to fill. One day she prayed, Dad, I'm begging you, go to the diet dishes. But Dad was laughing so much. You have extra kilos only for the benefit. It would seem that everything has improved. Everything is just fine. But people probably are not used to living calmly. One evening, Olga came to Sveta. Alek Mihailovich and Sonia were walking somewhere. Olga was serious, not laughing silently as she did before. Sveta suddenly realized that she had gone crazy and had not seen her friend for almost a month. Olga, I'm sorry, I went crazy. Yes, stop it. I also didn't go to the village. Where have you been? I missed something? Oh, come on. I'll tell you later. Listen, Sveta, I'm here to get advice. Sveta sat down at the table and looked at her friend carefully. You're a little gloomy today. Oh, a little. I want to divorce Grisha. Sveta dropped a spoon that was in the way of tea. What? Well, what did I say? I want to divorce Grisha. What? No one is divorcing. You love each other to the point of madness. Or what? What did Grishka do? Nothing. He didn't do anything. Olga looked at her with pity. Sveta, he doesn't want to listen to me. You see, as if I'm saying some kind of nonsense. But I really want a divorce. Sveta already wanted to count on her friend on the first day, but she suddenly burst into tears. Sveta, I want him to find someone for himself. I'll leave Platon to him, so that a good woman is kind. Sveta literally collapsed on the chair. She drank tea, carefully put a mug. She looked at her crying friend for a long time. Alya? She raised her eyes, crying. What? Tell me what happened. I'm telling you. I want to divorce Grisha. Sveta clapped her palm on the table. You can be a bitch, but tell me the truth. What happened? Alya looked at her, sighed, got into her pocket, put some papers in front of Sveta. Sveta often had a heart attack, but not what she thought. It turned out to be that. Her palms became sticky. What is it? Why Alya? Does Grisha know? Alya negatively waved her head. Sveta came in. She even ran around the room. Finally, she gathered her thoughts and stopped. So you decided to go easy. You decided for everyone. You don't care about Grisha, about Platon. You only care about yourself. I've always been better than you in opinion. And now I understand that I was wrong. Alya looked at Sveta with huge eyes. Sveta, what's wrong with you? I want to get rid of them from all this. Get rid of them? Don't make me laugh. You want to get rid of yourself from unnecessary difficulties. But look what happens in reality. Platon breaks down because he understands that his mother doesn't need him. His mother left his father, and she turned his tail. So he doesn't need anyone. Because if a child doesn't need his mother, then no one needs him. It's for the rest of his life. Someone will grow out of him later. The one who will hate women. And remember everything that will happen to him in life, bad. You will be the only one to blame. It's not true. I don't want this. How come not this? And Grisha? Does he deserve a person who loved you so much that he would learn everything later? That is, he lived for some time. Or maybe he drank because his beloved woman just dumped him. And then it turns out that the woman just didn't trust him enough, didn't tell him what was in her soul, that is, betrayed twice. Alya dropped her head on the table. Sveta, what can I do? I haven't found a place for myself for 2 weeks. When does the treatment begin? Alya waved her hand, wiped her tears. What kind of treatment is there? I immediately refused to go through so much agony. What have you done? Alya looked at his friend with fear. He didn't say anything good. She refused. She said it wouldn't help. Sveta grabbed her head. Oh, Lord, how could you make me have such an idiot in my friends? Alya kept silent. Sveta kept silent too. Then Alya asked, Sveta, it's very scary. What exactly? Well, it's treatment. There's not much to be pleased about, but it's much better than leaving here alone husband and Platon. Can you come? With me? I'm so scared. Of course. How could you think that I would leave you? Alya got up. Alexei Mihailovich and Sonia were just entering the house. He smiled. Alya, you're so good that you came. I prepared such a roulette today. Sonia said that she gained grams. Alya hugged the man. I will try it only next time, maybe. And she ran out. Sonia ran to her. Alexei Mihailovich asked, what's wrong with her? Sveta got tired and sat on the couch. Dad, Alya has cancer. How? Why? But no one knows that. Dad sat next to her. So we need to do something. Of course, Dad. We'll do it. It's so good that I have you. And I can get the whole house on you. The next day, Sveta and Alya left for the city. Grisha tried to hide his confusion, but all the time he asked Sveta, you're a doctor. You know everything. Will everything be fine with Alya? Grisha, of course, it can't be otherwise. Alya rarely appeared in the village. And back to the hospital. Grisha was always riding to the city, with Plato, alone. Sveta was also visiting her friend. Alya was full of determination. You'll see, I'm getting out of here. No matter how bad it was for me. They were sitting there for a long time, just hugging and silent. Everyone was thinking about their own. Probably, every person has their own test. And without it, you can't live your life. Please put on your best costume. Baby, but all my costumes are the best. Alexei Mihailovich looked at his granddaughter with smiling eyes. Sonia sighed. Well, you're like a little one. I have a white coat, almost a black dress and blue flowers. What costume do you have? Black-white? Sonia sighed again. Well, of course not. White is too much. Just black is somehow dry. But blue is quite suitable. Alexei Mihailovich put his hand to his forehead. Okay, Sonia. So we'll meet tomorrow at this place, already at the parade. Yes, but don't forget anything. You should always be with me. And Mom? Mom will be there. Don't get lost. I know you, Grandpa Semyonovich and Grandma Klava. Sveta and her father laughed. Sveta couldn't take it. You, Sonia, are now in yourself like Grandma Klava. Boo boo boo. Sonia had been dreaming about how her grandfather would take her to school in the first grade. She not only loved him, but was also terribly proud. She thought her grandfather was the smartest, the most beautiful, even the most fashionable, although he gradually got used to other clothes. But you can't throw away expensive things from the city. In the morning, when Alexei Mihailovich went out to the big room, Sveta said, Yes, Sveta, I feel something is wrong. Maybe you won't go? What are you talking about? Sonia was waiting for you. And there can't be any talks. You're going to dig something for me? They were walking around the village street with the whole family. Sveta remembered how Alya was struggling to open the school. And she did it. It's a pity that she's not with them now. They will return from the sea in 2 days. After Alya's illness left her alone, Grisha took his family to the sea every year. The doctor advised him, and he tried. They said hello to each other. Everyone thought it was their duty to say, What a beautiful and mature little girl. The girl was embarrassed, but she didn't let her head down. She's now a schoolgirl, not some kind of a little girl. The line was so solemn. Of course, there were not so many children, but Sveta remembered that when she came to this village, that there was no fifth part of what is now. After the line, everyone was invited to the school's acting hall. Alexei Mihailovich sat next to Sonia on a jacket. Son, now you and Mom, and I'll go home. I'm sick. Grandpa, what's wrong with you? It's not serious, is it? No, of course not. You'll come and show me the textbooks? Okay, Grandpa, we agreed. Sveta worriedly looked at her father. How are you? Yes, I'm fine. It's a little itchy, but I can handle it. Come, take your medicine, and lie down right away. He smiled. Okay. His girls went to the building, and Alexei Mihailovich was watching them. Beautiful girls. He was very proud of both his daughter and granddaughter. Sonia was always rushing to run, but then remembered that she was a student and was slowing down. Mom, what do you think? Grandpa will be surprised how many textbooks I have. Of course he will be surprised. He doesn't remember them anymore. Mom, what do you think? We'll look at the textbooks with him today. Of course. You won't leave him alone. Finally, the door in front appeared. Sonia ran away, and the first one jumped home. Grandpa, and she kept silent. Sveta saw in the open door that the girl froze and stood like a statue. The textbooks fell to the ground. Sveta ran into the house. Alexei Mihailovich was sitting in a chair. There was a jacket lying on the floor. He looked somewhere with an empty look. His hands were hanging. Dad! Sveta rushed to him, realizing that they had come too late. After the funeral, the house became so empty as if they had taken something very important. Sveta and Sonia almost did not talk. They sat on the couch, hugging each other. Now they have 3 graves in the cemetery. Sveta buried her father here, so that one day she could go and talk, tell something. When Olga came back, it became a little easier. After the doctors told her the magical word, remission, she had the second, and the third. The breathing opened up. Olga was everywhere. She was again making up things for Vasily Fomich. He hid from her again and said, When will you stop? What do you want the most? Alya immediately objected. What do you mean? What do you want the most? I've been following for a year. Make a beach, drive a tractor. There's a deal for minutes. We'll do everything ourselves. And we'll paint the benches. Just give me the board. That's how we live. First, only a tractor, then boards, then paint, and then come and paint everything. So what? It's not someone else's village. Of course, all you want. She never backed down. The next Saturday, a Saturday maker was appointed to the village. Sonia was also going to go with her classmates. They'll take away the garbage, maybe paint something, while the adults are doing more serious things. Work was boiling when Vasily Fomich approached Sveta. Svetlana, how is your grandmother's house? She got upset and wiped her forehead. Well, how is it? Of course, we need repairs. In years, a lot has been lost, but we can live. And what? Did Vasily Fomich's wife finally kick you out? Everyone who was around laughed, and Vasily blushed. His wife is his sick place. Or rather, he was sick with his wife. She was jealous of him all her life. She would arrange scenes of jealousy in the whole village and would collect suitcases for him once a month. Next to the stable Vasily, his wife looked like a child, but it didn't stop her from shouting at the whole village from the height of her small height, and sometimes even let her fists into the entrance. Who said that a woman would get angry with fat? Who said that the chairman? And really, but anyway, about their relationship in the village, it was possible to make up jokes. Here you are, Svetlana. So evil. You need to get married. Vasily Fomich, that is, you think that the woman is evil because there is no man around? Everyone around was silent. Sveta looked at Vasily with a smile. He perfectly understood that somewhere in her words there was a trick, but where could not understand. Well, yes, everyone knows that. So that's why you're so evil. A real Gogoth was spreading around. The women were holding on to their bellies. The men were also mumbling. Vasily. Fomich even stepped on it with his foot. Oh, I'm the light of the world, and I'm also on duty. I didn't come to dry your teeth. A man came here, either an artist or a musician, in general, to look for inspiration. He wants to rent a house for the summer. I thought, maybe you could give me yours. It's all the same. It's all the same. It's all the same. Sveta fixed the. Tell him to come to the evening to get the keys. I'll show him everything then. Work on the shore was boiling until the very late evening. There was a lot to do. It was a lot of adventures. Semyonik, the grandfather who once taught fishing Alexei Mihailovich, was so fond of the bottle, he took to warm it up that he slept in the nearest bushes by the evening. He had to organize his delivery home. In the evening, Sveta and Sonia just knocked on the table and the door. Yes, who is there? Come in. There was a man on the door. Sveta immediately remembered about the resident, and he also helped on the shore. Hello, I completely forgot about you. I'll give you the keys now. Don't hurry. Sveta suddenly stopped. And you know what? You sit down for dinner with us. And then we worked all day. And then I'll take you home. The man smiled. You know, I won't refuse. I didn't even think I wanted to eat so much until I felt your nose. Sveta turned to Sonia. Daughter, we have a guest. Put another plate. Okay, Mom. Sonia ran to the kitchen, and Sveta showed where to sit and turned on the light. What are we in the dark? The man sat down and looked at the light. Thank you. And the light froze. The man was about years old. He was well-built, handsome, but not this. But he was a little crazy about the light. He looked at her with sleepy eyes, huge, with an interesting almond-like cut. Sony's eyes always attracted attention. They were light-colored, and the pupil was like yellow dots. I had never seen such eyes before, but now I have. Legs weakened. It can't be. After all, years have passed. 10. Then, right after the tragedy in the village, some people appeared. Something or someone was looking for them, but they didn't ask questions. They just walked, looked around. There was no light in the village then. No one knew about the child yet. So it turned out that she was not seen, and Sunny too. And now she just felt it right away. Now some changes are coming. No, she will never give her daughter to anyone. The dinner went well. Sonia and her new acquaintance were. Sveta was silent throughout the whole dinner. She was depressed. She didn't know what to do. How could Daddy leave at the wrong time? He could have come up with something to solve. And what could she do? She can't hide Sonia. And any person who sees Sonia and Maxima close will immediately understand that they are relatives. Sveta didn't doubt that this man was the father of her daughter. When they went out and went to Grandma's house, Sveta, as much as possible, did not ask, "What brought you to our land?" "Beauty, you are very beautiful here. 10 years ago I was here, though not long, on business. So I decided to come back." Sveta understood that he was wondering, that she was not just asking. The game started. Think it over yourself. So that trip was the reason for your return. Didn't you see more beautiful places in years? I saw, of course, but I was attracted to something else. Maybe I'll tell you everything later. What was left for her to do? Just keep quiet. She won't ask you if a person says, then. She showed everything in the house. Here, sit down. The house is small, but everything you need is there. Thank you very much. It's even better than I expected. When your boss said that no one lived in the house for a long time, I thought that they were ruined here. Sveta smiled, said goodbye, and went out. She took a few deep breaths and threw herself at Alya. Alya's family was already getting ready for bed. Sveta knocked on the door so hard that the whole family jumped out at her. "Sveta, what happened? What's wrong with you?" Alya literally dragged Sveta into the house. Sveta silently looked at her. Alya turned to Platon. "Go to sleep." Platon sighed. Always like this. As soon as the most interesting thing begins, he is sent to sleep. Sveta sat on a chair. Alya looked at her in wonder. "Well, Alya, Sonia's father has arrived." Alya stood and collapsed on the chair. "What? What did you hear?" "He will take her away." "I know. He will take my girl away." "So wait. I don't understand anything. Who came? When? Where? Did he come to you and immediately say that he is Sonia's father?" Sveta nodded in a negative way. "No. Do you remember Vasily Fomich came to me on the shore?" "Well, about the tenant." "I remember. And what does it have to do with it? Do you want to say that he is the one?" "It's him, Alya. I know for sure. I don't know how to explain it to you." Sveta told everything to Alya, and what the guest said, and that he looks like Sonia. "What should I do, Alya?" "Well, first, calm down, and then start thinking." Grisha entered the room, sat down. Sveta looked at him in fear. "Grisha, have you heard everything? What should I do?" "Don't panic. Look, according to the documents, this is your daughter. If she starts digging too much, she can, of course, dig until... How did she appear to you? But again, try to prove that she didn't have a sister. Try to prove something. If you don't agree, he won't do anything. And in general, people who left their child to die under a tree have no right to him. What did you say? The truth is on your side. And if he's not guilty, but there was only a girl there. Well, we don't know that. What do you think? What does he know?" Sveta shook her shoulders. "I may be wrong, but I think he understood everything." They were sitting next to each other as if they were reflecting. "Oh my God, what should I do?" Grisha looked at Alya, then turned to Sveta. "You know that hiding Sonia is pointless. I think we should wait a little. But when you understand, if you understand that everything is like that he knows for sure that Sonia is his daughter, then it's impossible to talk to him directly and openly. There's no other way. We need to know why he came, just to look at Sonia, or he wants to take her away." With the last words, Sveta cried again. "Stop it. You need to be ready for the fight just in case, and not to shed tears. What if it's all just your imagination?" After talking to Alya and Grisha, she calmed down a little. "They are right. You don't have to panic, but you shouldn't relax either. None of the adults saw that in the corner of the room, almost behind the curtain, was sitting Platon with a book. Although he was looking at something else than the book, he was so used to it that Sonia, as his sister, was so small, harmful, but beloved that he couldn't imagine that someone could take her away. In the morning, Platon decided to talk to Sonia. If they get bored at home with food and money right after school, and while everyone is at work, then you can run far away. Platon told Sonia everything. Well, he decorated the place a little bit. He said that this uncle came to pick her up from his mother. Sonia cried, but he said, "Don't cry. You just need to hide so that he doesn't find you. He didn't need you for so many years. Now he definitely won't wait long. He'll wait a little and that's it. He will definitely leave." Sonia thought a little. Platon never lied to her. And now, of course, he was right. How could she not think it through? Platon sighed. "But that's where we're going." Sonia smiled mysteriously. "I know that." Sveta came from work. Sonia was not there yet. It's strange. She should have been home a long time ago. If only she didn't tie herself to the river again, or to the sports ground. How many times did I tell her, get dressed, eat, and then run? Well, now she will give Sonia. And then Sveta sat down. And maybe Sonia is missing? After all, here is her father. She shook her head. Yes, well, some nonsense. John will not take her like that. Sveta called the teacher. She said that the lessons were over a long time ago, and there are no events at school today. Then the light shone on Alya. "Alya, is your platoon home?" "No, I thought it was yours." At that moment Grisha left the room. "I don't understand anything." "Alya, you didn't take the money. I had it on TV. It was deposited." "No." The women looked around. Alya shone on the refrigerator. "There are no sausages, no cheese." They ran back to the light. The refrigerator was half empty. In the deposited money, there was not enough at all, but there was not enough. "Alya, what's going on? I don't understand. Where is your vest?" Sveta did not wait for the end of the phrase. She was already running to her grandmother's house. Maxim did something in the yard. Either he was stabbing under the trample, or something was cut out of the tree. Sveta flew at him like a fury. "Where is Sonia? Where did you do her? Confess what you did to our children." Maxim moved Sveta away and asked, "Svetlana, what's wrong with you? Are you in your mind? What can I do with Sonia? I haven't seen her since." I know that you're her father. Why did you come? Do you want to take her away?" "I won't give her. Tell me where my daughter is." Maxim was shocked. His face instantly faded. "So it's true. So Inga had a baby." Sveta froze. He sat on the stump, smoked, coughed, took out a cigarette, threw it away. Alya came up to him. "Maxim, our children are missing. I think before you look for them, you should tell us why you came here." "Yes, probably. Now there is no way without it." He looked up at the world. "I will never take away from you a daughter. A little more than 10 years ago, I met my love. Inga was just perfect. She was the girl of my dreams. She immediately answered me in mutual. You can't imagine how it all happened. But we were not destined to be together. Inga had a very rich father. A son-in-law like me did not like him in any way. In addition, some bastard like a son of a friend of my father took care of her. Then we ran away. We lived together for almost 2 months. And then we were found. I was quickly imprisoned. My father paid someone, and the case was quickly settled. Inga disappeared. He put her under lock. I was released after 5 years. And only then I found out that my girlfriend's father died under strange circumstances, that Inga herself also died. But after she married that bastard. That is, you understand that they dealt with her father and her. So much to get the money. Who will listen to the former prisoner? I was advised not to even meddle in this case if I want to stay alive. I decided that I didn't care. I began to track down this husband to just take revenge on him. But one day I met the housekeeper Inga and her father. This old woman always treated me well. She told me that Inga found out everything, and that bastard promised to save the life of the child if she marries him. And after the birth, Inga disappeared. She ran away with the child, believing that the words of that person cannot be believed. For almost a year, I asked everyone who could know anything. I found out that she ran away with the child, but she was found without him. All traces led to this village. I myself did not know if I could find anything, but it turned out like this. For a few minutes, the silence was hanging in the yard. Then Maxim said, "Sveta, if you don't want to, then you can never tell Sonia that I'm her father. It's not good to have such a father who couldn't protect them and then take revenge. But I would like to be close, at least in this house." Grisha coughed. "You'll decide that later. Now the main thing is to find them. Something tells me that Platon heard our conversation yesterday. He told Sonia everything, and they decided to hide so that Maxim could not take her away." Sveta became calmer. "Yes, Grisha, you're right. We will find them so that he can read the lesson to his son that he cannot eavesdrop. Let's think where they can be. Since Platon is with her, it's not so scary." They walked through the whole village, looked in all corners. "But there were no children anywhere," Maxim said. "Although I do not treat our authorities very well, it seems that it is impossible without them." But then Svetlana replied, "Wait, let's check another place. Something tells me that Sonia could have dragged Platon there. She loved that house very much, especially since it was her grandfather's house." Alya clapped on his forehead. "But it's true, Sonia is smart. Plato always agrees with her. Grisha, quickly start the car." Maxim stood up. "Please, allow me to go with you." Alya and Sveta looked over. "Okay, get ready, but quickly." All the way Sveta thought that Maxim had survived no less than she had. And that girl, she is not at all guilty except that she fell in love. And Sonia, because she could, it was impossible to think about it. They drove up to the house. Or rather, they left the car a little further and walked up. The gate was not even creaking when Sveta opened it. Alya walked and looked around. Then she whispered, asking Sveta, "Why don't you sell it? It's so huge and useless. This is Sonia's house. Dad and I decided and wrote a long time ago on it." "Wow, so your Sonia is a rich heir? You hear, Grish? We have the opportunity to be related to such rich people." Sveta looked at her friend with a bitter look. "Alya, what's wrong? An unfamiliar person will really think that you are like that." Alya did not have time to answer. When they turned around the house, they saw what they had expected to see. In one of the windows, a slightly noticeable glow was breaking through. That is, the curtains were tightly tightened, but the light was seen in the corner of the window. "And here are our children." Sveta carefully opened the back door. "I wonder how they got here, because all the keys are in her place. But we'll talk about that later." They entered the room. Platon slept on the couch. Sonia was sleeping on the bed. The night watch was on the floor. "Hey, wake up." Platon jumped first. "Mom, Dad, Aunt Sveta, how did you find us?" Then Sonia woke up. She went to her mother. "Mom, don't give me to anyone. I don't want to. I want to be with you." Maxim went out right away. Sveta pressed her daughter to her. "Why are you like this? He didn't want to take you. He just found you to meet, to tell about your mom. It's not easy, Sveta, not to give these words, but it's better to have her yourself than someone else." "Mom? You're not my mom?" "Of course I'm your mom. I'm only your mom, and you're my most precious little star. But you had another mom. Unfortunately, she's not alive. She died, but saved you. She brought you to me and said that I'm your mom now." Sonia calmed down. Then she asked, "It seems we ran away for nothing. Although now we know why Maxim appeared, and we can live in peace." "Yeah, you shouldn't have done that. He seems nice." Sonia went out, holding her mother's hand. She saw Maxim, let go of Sveta's hand, and came up to him. I'm sorry, we were just scared. Maxim turned around, turned to the girl. Are you kidding me? It's my fault. I should have told the whole story at once. And you are very brave, aren't you?
Sonia sighed.
I wouldn't dare to do it alone. But when Platon was around, I wasn't scared. Platon wasn't in such a cheerful mood. Alya's mother managed to whisper to him that he was waiting for him at home. The prospects were not very good, so he wanted to run away again. But he understood that for the second time, his mother wouldn't whisper and immediately start acting. He stood, tried not to look at anyone, and only sighed. He always protects you. Always. And when a neighbor dog attacked me, and when we were fighting with the boys at school, Sveta was shocked. Sonia, is it true that you fight at school? Sonia bit her tongue. No, Mom, it's me, for example. Platon barely held back his smile so as not to give it away. Sonia's eyes were cunning. They were going home together. There was little space in the car. They sat tight. She was sitting on her mother's knees, and when she fell asleep, it turned out that her head was lying on Maxim's hand. Sveta wanted to remove it, but Maxim made a sign not to touch it. He whispered with one lip, "Let him sleep." Then, as if not fighting, Sveta fell asleep. Her head was lying on Maxim's shoulder. Alya wanted to ask something, turned around and froze with her mouth open. The back seat was a dream kingdom. Sonia almost completely crawled over and sweetly slept on the wide chest of Maxim. The man held her with one hand. Sveta comfortably lay on his shoulder, and Maxim himself bowed his head to Sveta's head. Alya pushed Grisha. He looked in the mirror and smiled, showing Alya a big finger. Then everything went completely wrong, as Sveta thought. She decided that if Maxim wanted to talk to Sonia, let him talk to her. He told her everything honestly. Sonia cried for a long time. Then she said, "Can we go to the Inga's grave?" "Mom." "Of course we can, but it's not here. It doesn't matter." "Mom, can we?" Sveta nodded. "Yes, we'll go on vacation." "Okay, I'll be waiting." Then she went to the garden. Sveta wanted to go after her, but Maxim said, "Let's give her some time. I think she'll manage." And it's true, Sonia did great, but Sveta didn't. They talked a lot with Maxim. He often visited them. He even did something in the garden, in the house, although Sveta didn't ask him. Then Sonia brought a bicycle, and in the evenings she learned to ride it. Sveta understood that something incomprehensible was happening in her soul. She was afraid to admit to herself that she fell in love with Maxim, fell in love with a man who was her daughter's father. It's nonsense. Just nonsense. She claimed to herself that this could not be true, that it just seemed so to her. But when she caught a long, constant look at herself, Maxim realized that she was going crazy. "Stepa, Stepushka, what should I do? I'm totally confused." Sveta was sitting at her husband's grave and crying. "You see, Stepan, I can't live if he leaves. And I can't say it. How is that? I only love you. Tell me, how can I get rid of this obsession?" She quietly cried. She understood that the answer would not be waited, but she had to speak out. Even Alya did not know about her feelings. And Sveta thought that her love for Maxim was a betrayal of her husband. "I don't think that Stefan would want you to be alone all your life. That's not right. And if he really loved you, then he must be happy that you're happy here too. Why are you avoiding me? Don't you understand? You don't feel what I'm feeling for you. And it's not because we have a common daughter. I think if I met you just like that, I wouldn't be able to pass by either."
Jede.
Where is Maxim from? He heard everything. What a horror. She didn't turn around. There was no strength. The branch crunched. Maxim came up to the fence. "I saw you running to the cemetery and immediately realized that you were going to your husband. You've been hiding from me lately. Why, Sveta? Why can't you just be happy? Your husband has been gone for years. Why can't you let go of the situation and think about yourself?" Sveta got up, looked into Max's eyes. What if we don't work out? Can't we be happy? That's impossible. We're already happy. I found you. You found me. We have Sonia. Think about how much you can do to never stop being happy. The village was excited when it found out that Sveta was getting married to Maxim, and even more excited when it found out that Maxim was Sonia's real father. People got confused. Many forgot that someone didn't know the story with Sveta's sister, who allegedly didn't survive the natural disasters. It turned out that Maxim had been found after so many years. The wedding was crowded. Sveta and Maxim wanted to just quietly sign. But when Olga got to the point, it was just unreal. The whole village was walking, and Platon and Sonia were sitting a little far away. They were actively discussing the plan of how to punish the one who did this to the girl's relatives. I know for sure that we need to establish a family. Then you can enter the inheritance and put this man in jail. Platon, what do you think? Will Maxim help us? I think yes, but it all needs to be presented in a smart way. You know our moms, they will immediately make a hysteria. And why do you call him Maxim? Sonia laughed. I'm always confused. Dad or Maxim, but he doesn't get offended. He laughs with me. Don't even think. Like thunder in the clear sky. Children suddenly turned around. Alya and Grisha and Sveta and Maxim were standing above them. Sveta threatened with her finger. We'll deal with it without you. You traitors. Sonia and Platon sighed. Well, okay. They'll come up with something else.